We've heard from our commanders-in-chief, Darren and Aaron, Mougey and Glenn. I don't know what their tandem name is right now, but we're going to come up with that. We will. We will figure that part out. But they had a lot to say, a lot to digest. So please grab up your fork, grab up your spoon, your knife. All right, get a little napkin if you need, because we're doing a lot of eating. There's a lot to digest from what they said. Right after the intro, Boy Green meets Wudi.
Can you guys help us get a jet chant here? Yeah, going.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. Come on in.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go!
J-E-T-S, jet, jet, jet! Let's go! J-E-T-S, jet, jet, jet! Let's go! How you doing?
Third Party Thursday.
Chris joining us here on the program with a capital P here on the program.
Jake Asman, come on down. How you doing, good sir?
Wow, what an intro. I mean, Boy Green is known for having the intro, but Wudi, that was unreal, man. Thanks for the kind words, son.
We are men of many names.
My favorite Austrian Jets fan right there, baby.
Boy Green meets Wudi. Welcome to another episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. It is your boy James Wudi, and you best believe we are Wudi, rocking everywhere. Right next to me is the boy who became king, Mr. Paul Esden Jr., hardest working man in the biz. You already know what it is. How you doing, my good sir?
Well, I wish it was a little less hardworking today. As soon as the radio show was over, the radio show ends at noon. Mougey spoke at noon, then AG at 12:15. So I'm immediately off the radio show. I'm like, all right, everybody, get out of the radio station. Get out of the booth. And then I'm listening to Mougey. I'm taking notes. I'm like, oh, okay, Mougey, that's interesting. Oh, Glenn, yeah, fascinating. Then on the way home, I got like an hour commute. So I listened to Aaron, Glenn, and Darren Mougey join the Jets live combine show where it's Ethan Greenberg and Eric Allen. I'm like, interesting. And Connor Rogers was on that show. I'm like, okay, more content. So that's what the hell is happening, Wudi. So I wish I was a little less hard working because I'm the gosh darn reason that we're late to this freaking program. So I apologize to everyone. I saw a bunch of people were waiting before the show started with all the comments section, including our number one Austrian Jet fan. So let's give a big, juicy round of applause. And one of these.
Here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
That gets me fired up almost as much as real quicker, the 10 new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club: Mike Lopez 007, Jay Savage, Wrong Verb, Duncan Lloyd, Emmanuel Holcomb, Georgie, John, Justin, Ray Noble, Paul, Knicks fan 73, Niels. And those are our new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club, and some more raffle tickets for our number one Austrian Jet fan, baby. So before we even get started, a big salute. He's in the intro, baby, for a reason. Our number one Austrian Jet fan, 168 raffle tickets. Beautiful.
Absolutely, and welcome to the 10 new members of the Boy Green Coffee Club. I am not sure at all what Johnny Boy is asking our votes for, but Johnny Boy, you always get my vote 100% of the time. No questions asked. Just let me know where to sign. I got my pen right here. Let me know where to sign. You got my vote, Johnny Boy.
Well, that is the Asmaniac Madness, where over on Jake Asman's channel, he has a Asmaniac Bracket Challenge featuring all of the most crazy callers in Jake Asman over the last year. And Johnny made the tournament as a seed, and so did several members of our group that regularly call into the show and contribute. Jake Asman's live at the NFL Combine, too, so a salute to Jake. He just had Ian Rappaport on the show, so Jake's freaking killing it. So that's more content I'll have to get to at some point. Salute to Jake, who's going on live right now, or has been live, and he's doing all this content. So yeah, that's what Johnny Boy's talking about. So I appreciate the shameless plugs. There's no one who appreciates shameless plugs as much as me. That's for damn sure. Absolutely terrific. And more memberships flowing through. DNY for life, baby, a.k.a. Devin. Keep it rolling, baby. How about an escalator, Jet? Oh, yeah, those were a couple of goodies. By the way, the 5 new members from DNY for Life, 5 raffle tickets for him. Dre Correa, who's also in the Asmaniac Madness. James Fitzpatrick, Rowan Marshall, Harry W., and Dave from New Brunswick. Haven't seen Dave in a while, but it's great to have Dave back on the show as well. So there you go. There's some more raffle tickets happening as well, which is pretty terrific. Anywho, James Wudi, I love all the raining that's happening here. It's raining literally outside, which is making it quite slippery with the snow out there, but also it's raining memberships left and right. The other thing it's raining, Wudi, is quotes from Mougey and Aaron Glenn. There's a lot of raining happening. Some quotes mean a little something. Some quotes mean a little nothing. But I thought there was a lot of eyebrow-raising comments from both Mougey and Glenn, for that matter. What's the one that stood out to you the most, Wudi? What's the one that you have stuck in your craw?
The most? Oh, I don't know.
Let me rewind. Let me not start it off with the main event Jey Uso. Let's bring it back like a Jimmy Uso, like a lesser Us, if you catch my drift. Yeet. Let's bring it back a few notches here. What's something that popped out to you? We'll kind of go through all of it here on the show.
Yes, absolutely. I like a good crescendo, right? I like, so we will build up. But one that I definitely think was super interesting to me was, Aaron Glenn saying, hey, the goal is to win now, not next year, not, in 2 years. This isn't a 3-year plan. We are trying to win now and moving forward. And I have, a couple people in my inbox, both, via social media and even my cell phone. I got, people, the group chat from high school talking about, hey, we rebuilding. We're going to, stink, get your head around the fact that the Jets are going to have a horrific year. And I've been trying to say, no, right? This is a roster that Vegas had making the Super Bowl. That is what the outside looking in had for the roster. Yes, losing Aaron, Devontae, we'll talk about later this episode. But there are still so many pieces in place that they need to try their best to win now. And it seems like Aaron Glenn wholeheartedly agrees.
But I think and I think I saw you on Twitter or Instagram, one of the two. I don't know. I was all over the place, uploading clips from everywhere. But I think I saw you interacting with someone. So there is this comment, right? Like Aaron Glenn came out and said, compete. There's a lot of compete. And then there is, we're here to win. We're here to win now. And Mougey says the same thing. But a lot of Jet fans go, win now. But where's Aaron Rodgers? Where's A-Rod? Where's he? Where is he? And then one of the comments, I'll throw this one, I'll mix this into the one you just talked about, Connor Hughes. And Connor Hughes, a Jet chant, a clap. Connor Hughes is really good at asking questions because some questions got, and I'm not trying to call out media members here, but some of their questions got destroyed by how they asked it. For instance, Ricky New York, right? We were all saying, hey, what's a Jordan Travis update? I'm not sure they're going to give us anything, but where's the Jordan Travis update? A media member asked, I think it was Mougey or Glenn. I think it was Glenn. And he said, hey, what's the update on Jordan Travis? And then the media member didn't shut up. And then let's see what they say. He continued and said, and how important is adding competition to the room? And Glenn said, compete, competition. And then there was no Jordan Travis. And I'm like, geez. I wanted to hear what he said about Jordan Travis, but he skipped the Jordan Travis part because he heard the last part. So I think it's very important for media questions. Sometimes we talk ourselves out of it, like we build in and out. Hey, Wudi, what are you going to be doing this weekend? I heard there's a movie out. Yeah, I'm probably going to go to the movies. Like I fed you the answer, and then you ended up taking it instead of just answering it however you would have. So that one sort of got me on that, which brings me back to Connor Hughes. He said, is it probable to say, and I'm going to butcher it because I don't have it immediately in front of me verbatim for the question because we're on the show live, but is it probable that Tyrod Taylor is going to be your starting quarterback week 1? And Aaron Glenn goes, whoa, we can't say that. There's the draft, there's free agency. And he said some nice things like Tyrod's a good player. We know that. He's won like 50% of his games he's ever started. Like he's good, but compete. We're going to add all kinds of guys. Who knows what's going to happen? So that was like a really good question. But it goes back to what you said, Woody. Okay, we want to win now. Everyone wants to win now. Okay, that's the sexy thing to say. That's what feed the animals at the zoo. Jeff's like, we want to win, and they're like, we're going to win right now. And then they're like, whoa, and everyone's getting crazy. But who the hell's the starting quarterback? It's hard to say we're going to win right now. We don't know who the hell QB1 is.
Yeah, it's tough. It is definitely tough. So I'm not trying to say, pencil us in right now for anything yet.
Sure.
But just to hear it, because it honestly, you don't always hear it. When Joe Douglas came in, it was we have, and that's why I said, right. Oh, we have a plan, right? This is a process. I even seen in the comments some people, said trust the process, right? It could be, years of a rebuild and stuff like that. So just to hear that specifically, no, that is not the plan. The plan is to win now. That is good. If they truly felt like Aaron is not the QB to win now with, then that is their right. That is their right. I
Absolutely.
think people, and it's so tough with this fan base that everything is either all black or white, right? Like Aaron Rodgers, I would say 90% of you didn't want nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers pretty much the whole season. Like, he sucks, only won this many games. Zach Wilson won that many games. Then, he had a couple of good games with Devontae. He had a stinker against Buffalo. No, not one person besides James Wudi was saying, oh, keep Aaron after that game, right? He took himself out in the fourth. Terrible. Then he has that last game, and everyone's like, oh, bring him back. I don't think you guys remember, Aaron, he had a couple of chances to win games late for those first 5 or so weeks, right? One ended up in the hands of Stephon Gilmore. Right, one, he talking about red lines. One, he couldn't get a first down, so he forced Greg Zuerlein in the weather to try to kick a game-winning 50-yarder. That's 3 right there. And if Aaron Glenn, if Mougey are looking at that and they're saying, you know what, there may be some options that in those situations could actually deliver, then that is their right, and I respect their right to make that decision.
Yeah, I'll throw another follow-up in here. This is a great question, and hopefully we're going to have this guy on the show. Keep an eye out for Boy Green Dailies potentially. This man is at the NFL Combine. Brian Costello of the New York Post. He asked a question I think is on the minds of every fan. Okay, you want to move on from Aaron Rodgers. You're damn right, Woody. It's their right. They're right to party. They're right. It's their right to say, Aaron Rodgers, we won 5 games to Aaron Rodgers. What the hell are you people talking about? Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Schmadgers. He's 41. Okay. All right. They have the right to say that. Of course, they make the decisions. But Brian Costello asks a question on everyone's minds. Something in the respect of how confident are you, Aaron Glenn, that you could find a better quarterback in 2025 than Aaron Rodgers? Throw up the question. And Aaron Glenn, he either didn't hear the question or he just hit a button on an action figure that, like, 110%. I don't know. The beep boop pop. It is what it is. And I was like, what? Like the answer he gave didn't make any sense to the question. And then he sort of went, and hey, let me tell you something that pisses me off. And I was like, whoa, okay, here we go. And he said, it's that everyone is talking about quarterback. He says, it pisses me off and some players off that all we talk about on this team is quarterback. He says, what about these other players on the team? Joe Tippmann, AVT. He starts naming all these guys. It's disrespectful to the rest of the team to only be focusing on the quarterback thing. But he basically didn't answer the question. But that is the question on everyone's mind. He said, okay, you don't think Aaron Rodgers is good enough. That's fine. A lot of people have that thought in the universe. It's not a wild thought. Some people are on the extreme other side that say, man, Aaron Rodgers, I know what the wins say, but he looked pretty good at this point. Who are they confident in their ability to do it? The Darren Mougey said, we're going to be exhaustive in all our quarterback draft, free agency, trade. Who knows? The world is our oyster. But I'll throw that to you, Woody. Aaron Glenn didn't have the gonads to answer it. We'll see if Woody does. Are you confident that the New York Jets can find a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers in 2025, not 2026, not 2027, not 2028, 2025. Are you confident the Jets' ability to find a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers for this upcoming season, James Wudi?
Confident? I mean, I'm
confident. That's the word. With the big C.
I am outside the building. I think for any one of us sitting in these seats to have any level of confidence would be misplaced, right? We don't know what's happening in there. Faith? Do I have faith that they can find somebody? And let's say let's make something clear. Better than Aaron Rodgers or better for the team than Aaron Rodgers. I think those are two different things.
Yeah.
So I think, do I have faith that they can find someone better for the team than Aaron Rodgers? Yeah, I think that's totally possible. And by exhausting all options, like Darren Mougey said, free agency, he didn't say anything about trades, but hopefully they're talking about that as well. And then of course the draft. Yeah, I think it is possible, and that's why I'm not out here, calling for any heads or nothing. I'm saying, all right, I respect the decision they made. They feel like that's not a perfect fit. They probably have some ideas of what would fit better.
Yeah, I want to say this real quick because, like Aaron Glenn said, he wanted to get something off his chest that pisses him off. This is something that pisses me off. So Yo Holmes says, "Come on, man, Rodgers is gone." When Yo Holmes makes a comment like this, he makes it sound like on the Aaron Rodgers show. Oh, did you hear Aaron Rodgers scratch his left ass cheek, Jet fans? I'm not doing those kind of shows. When there's legitimate Aaron Rodgers things to talk about, we talk about it. Today at the press conference, a couple hours ago, both Darren Mougey and Aaron Glenn were asked about Aaron Rodgers. This is the first time both of them have spoken about Aaron Rodgers since they released a statement that they're moving on from him. And one of the questions at this presser was from Brian Costello saying, do you people believe that you're confident you can replace them? I'm not making up Aaron Rodgers things to talk about, Yo Holmes, and don't worry. Soon he's going to be off the team. That doesn't mean people are going to stop talking about him, because if Rodgers lands on a team and the Jets get, let's call it Tyrod Taylor, and Tyrod Taylor sucks and Aaron Rodgers looks good, there's going to be a lot of people chirping. So if you're annoyed with the Aaron Rodgers shit, well, that might be coming back. But eventually he's going to be off the team. That's going to be on March 12th. That's another one we'll throw at you, Woody. It seems likely, and this has been the theme of everything so far, that the Jets will use a post-June 1 designation on Aaron Rodgers. And what that means is that they will be splitting up the cap of that hit. He is owed a $49 million dead cap charge. That's coming up for old Aaron Rodgers. By being a post-June 1, it says it's likely, but Mougey also said this, quote, "We're still in the process of that. We have time to make that decision." But he said, yes, it's likely we'll designate him post-June 1. If that happens, the $49 million in cap charges owed to Aaron Rodgers over the next 2 years would be split $14 million in 2025, $35 million in 2026. What that means is his current cap number, $23.5 million, will be on the Jets' books until June 2nd. At that point, it drops down to $14.5. Or 23.5 to 14 million flat. That's a savings of $9.5 million, but you won't get those savings until June. So I want to just make sure those are clear. So it seems likely they're going to do that. Woody, we've talked about this a long time ago, so we don't have to beat it like a dead horse, but just to refresh our viewers on where you stood, are you okay with the Jets choosing to split that tab as opposed to eating it entirely in 2025?
That's another one where I would trust their judgment again. By eating it now, all of it now you've freed up, so that next year, right? That's the year that we're, talking about, let's cash in all these 5th-year options. So maybe that is in their best interest. But that's actually what I want to talk about is Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson. Those are two names that were mentioned today to Mougey. And I would say the fan base, well, now, you guys started to sour on Sauce, but most of us, I would say, view them as cornerstone players. If we say, who do you want to be a Jet for their entire career? I would say Sauce and Garrett are the top two answers. Yep. What he said was, they are good young players. He talked about the philosophy behind
Mhm.
extending them now. He said that's a case by case basis, which
Mhm.
I agree with. I don't think there should be a blanket. I think that was actually one thing that hurt Joe Douglas was like, oh, Ozzy told me this in 2007.
This is my philosophy, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I do think that's good that, yes, everything is a case by case basis. But I would have liked to hear a little bit more. Love is not the right word, but commitment to those players, right? Because I think those are cornerstone guys.
Yeah, I didn't need a Jet for Life NFL Combine comment, a la Joe Douglas, Jamal Adams. I didn't quite need that, but I agree with you. When they were asked, because Darren Mougey did his best impression of the Matrix, trying to dodge us. Antoine Snow said, yeah, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, extension. Any thought there? Well, I'm just going to tell you this, Antoine. We're political all here. Yeah, I'm happy to have those guys on the roster. Yeah, good players. Yeah. And then I'm like, what? Where was the question? Wait, Darren, where was the? And the same thing. AG was a little stronger, but sort of in the same waters. He's like, hey, man, we like having good players. We want to keep good players here for a long time, but sort of generic. They didn't really address the possibility of extending either of those two guys. So I would like to see it. I would have liked to see a little bit more juice in terms of that comment that, those guys are going to be Jets for a long time or something of that nature. Like those guys aren't going anywhere or anything of that nature, but they played mostly everything close to the vest from that perspective. But okay, we could talk about on one hand that we could have saw a little bit more commitment there. A place where we saw the bare minimum commitment is Davante Adams and Allen Lazard. So folks, Darren Mougey, I don't have the official YouTube times in front of me of how long they actually spoke. They're both supposed to be on the podium for like 15 minutes. So they obviously, during those chunks of time, were asked a lot of questions about a lot of players. So keep that in mind. Davante Adams gets brought up both to Darren Mougey and to Aaron Glenn, and they both say, well, Davante, he's on the roster for now. Lazard, yeah, he's on the roster for now. They didn't say that sort of phraseology with any other player on the team. So again, this isn't stunning. This isn't shocking news, but it seems all but obvious, right? Mougey said that's an issue we're going to handle here in a couple of weeks. An issue. He used that word. Yeah, it sounds like Davante Adams and Allen Lazard, their heads are in the guillotine, and we're waiting for the pull for the heads to roll off. I'd be surprised. I know some Jet fans have whispered about a Davante trade. I just don't see it. I think both of those guys are about to be released. Release the Hounds, Simpsons. The Hounds will be released.
This is interesting because I actually took a different perspective on their the question that was proposed to Darren Mougey, and I apologize because I don't have it word for word, but it implied that Davante was as good as gone. So I feel
Good
like
question
Mougey,
you're saying.
yes. So I feel like Mougey actually did the exact opposite to say like, no, like Davante, he's on the team right now, not for now, right now. He is on the team. And yeah, we have a plan. We've been talking to him. We've been talking to his representation. And then, of course, Mougey, he said this a whole bunch of times, is I'm not going to release private conversations. I guess they both said that. So, let me not single them out or single one out over the other. So, I actually came away from that. And that's so funny that you bring this up because that's literally the next note on my list here is Davante Adams quote. I came away saying like, oh, maybe there is something that they can do. Obviously, in terms of staying, he would need more answers on the QB. It really does seem like, and I know someone in the comments said, they know, they're just not going to tell us. I don't think they know. I really don't think they know. I think they probably have a pool of players where they're like, we would probably rather have these guys than Aaron since they got rid of Aaron so early. But for Davante, keeping Davante wants to know, right? He wants to know what that looks like. And why do you think they wouldn't be able to make a trade? I mean, he looked, Aaron did a fantastic job boosting up his stock. I think there are plenty of wide receiver needy teams that would be willing to give up a pick, maybe multiple picks, and figure out that contract on themselves.
First off, I want to say right off the top, I'm smiling when we're talking about the different interpretations because I love it. That's what this is all about. People are saying things at podiums who are like, I'm the Dwayne Wade gift. What did he mean by that? And we're like sort of trying to put the piece together. So I love that we came to two completely separate conclusions based on that. Now, I'm also I hope not because I take great pride in this. So I hope I didn't rush through it. And it's a little hard. So Jets media team, let's make sure we bump up the reporters and media's questions. I had to re-listen to so many questions to make sure I had the proper context for an answer because you can't slam a guy for an answer if you didn't understand what the question was. So hopefully I didn't rush through it because, like I said, I take great pride in that. But still, I love that we can interpret things. To me, that's fascinating. But to get to what you just said about Devontae, yes, Devontae showed a lot of chutzpah last year. Wherever Aaron Rodgers ends up would make a lot of sense that Devontae would want to pair up there. That makes sense. There's been all this West Coast rumors. There's all kind of West Coast teams that would certainly use a talented wide receiver like Devontae. To me, it's not about the talent or lack of talent with Devontae and why cut him if you could trade him? Because I agree. If you could trade and get an asset for somebody, I'm all aboard, especially for a new regime with so many new pieces all floating around. That's important. The reason why I believe that a Devontae Adams trade appears unlikely is purely contractual, that he has 2 more years left on his deal with no guarantees, set for somewhere in the ballpark of $36 million a year, which means that if the Jets were to trade Devontae, they would need Devontae's help to acquiesce to a trade. So that's why I say, for people that are asking about this, if let's say the Jets are talking with the Rams, I'm making it up, I don't know, the 49ers, it doesn't matter. You're talking to the 49ers and they say, hey, we'll give you Devontae for a fifth. Well, the 49ers go, sure, that's cool, but we need to talk to Devontae about a brand new deal because we're not taking on that contract. Like, we need a brand new deal. So then the Jets would then say, okay, hold up. Let me call up Devontae. Yo, Devontae, hey, we got a great deal. We'll send you to the 49ers, but they got to shred up your whole contract. And if I'm Devontae, I look at the Jets and say, I don't need you. Cut me, and I can negotiate my own deal in free agency. I don't need you, Jets. Why do I need you as the middleman? I could go wherever the hell I want. I could be a true free agent. By the way, Devontae Adams has never been a true free agent his entire NFL career, believe it or not, which seems kind of crazy considering his age, but it's never happened. He's always been signed up ahead of time, that it was, or franchise tagged or blocked. So to me, I hope you're right, Wudi. I hope that Devontae works with the Jets and somehow we get an asset out of this instead of just lighting a 3rd-round pick on fire. But to me, my gut tells me a trade is unlikely because they would require Devontae's help. And while Devontae seems like the Jets did him no wrongs in particular, Devontae has no reason to help out the Jets to acquiesce a trade because, again, he can force the Jets to cut him and then he could go wherever the hell he wants for whatever contract he wants. He doesn't have to worry about a team holding on to him. So that's personally why, for me, I believe a trade is unlikely. Unfortunately, which sucks for the Jets, that means they lit a 3rd-round pick on fire, which is unfortunate. But we'll always have those Devontae Adams 17 jerseys, I guess.
Not me. I didn't get one. But
oh, well, just wait. They'll be on a discount. I got a feeling. Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and maybe I'm just an idiot and just took his words too serious. But I do think that they are having conversations. I don't think that story has been written yet. I feel like they are trying to get things done, right? So, right, like the decision was made up with Aaron. All right, boom, now we're done. I think if there was a decision made on Devontae already, it would be done. So I think they are still trying to work on that, and maybe it's exactly what you just said, right? Where they're trying to negotiate with Devontae, like, hey, we need something back, right? How can we do this amicably and all that type of stuff? So that is definitely something to keep an eye on. As for Lazard, yeah, I would imagine. I mean, we all imagined he was good as gone. I'm not sure what the holdup there would be, but they didn't really go into detail with Lazard. It was really more Devontae based, which I think all of our attention is Devontae based as well.
Right? Yeah, the only comment that they provided that was specific to Allen but also addressed Devontae was Darren said, oh, I'm aware of their contract situations because that was brought up as part of the Allen Lazard question. So, boy, Allen Lazard could probably be cut because you could save this or this. And he just said, oh, yeah, I'm aware of the contract situation. We got a plan. So again, I might be reading too much into it. That's certainly possible. Here's one I definitely want to make sure we get to before the end of the show, and all the ones that we have. And again, this has been a lot of fun so far. We got 300 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. So let's go back, because some people didn't even see this. So I want this part to be kind of part of the conversation. So there's been so many layers. Let's just go to the blunt part. Jets, Aaron Rodgers, basically they're parting ways. There was a lot of layers to it, but they're parting ways. Quinnen Williams, here's their parting ways. And he responded to my tweet video of Jay Glazer from NFL on Fox. And Quinnen Williams said, quote, "Another rebuild year for me, I guess." Eye roll emoji. And no, not even a thumbs down. This is a separate tweet. And like I said, this tweet I'm saying right now, a lot of people didn't even see because it happened like this. Again, I just happen to be on my phone and I get a Quinnen Williams just responded to your tweet. I'm like, well, that's notable. And I'm like, what did Quinnen say? And it says what I just said. This was what he tweeted. This real Quinnen Williams, 100% real, came right to my phone. Quote, "Another rebuild year for me, I guess." Eye roll emoji. I say, well, if I'm Quinnen, I'm deleting that like in -3 seconds. So I go screenshot, click, and immediately tweet out, holy shit. You just see what Quinnen Williams just said? And before I could even send it. So think about the time that happened here. Quinnen tweeted this, felt this for 5 seconds, and immediately deleted it. Now, I'm sorry, Quinnen. I'm sure he didn't appreciate that I screenshotted it and that it was going viral. But Quinnen, you tweeted out in the universe. It's the internet, man. I'm sorry. You said it. And you felt it in that moment. And I felt like as a reporter and everything else I do, it feels fair to share what happened out there in the universe. So he tweets out and deletes it immediately. But sorry, Quinnen. Too late. So I tweet that out, and then he deletes it immediately. And then he transitions to what you just said, Woody, the thumbs down emoji. That's more interpretive. What was he thumbs downing? Was he Aaron Rodgers thing, this or that? The another rebuilding year, I guess, and quote tweeting the video that said Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are parting ways is a little bit more clear. Anywho, I say all that to say, Aaron Glenn has asked, hey, did you see that Quinnen tweet where he said another rebuild year for me, I guess? And Aaron Glenn said, yeah, I talked to Quinnen Williams. This is Aaron Glenn today. I talked to Quinnen Williams. And listen, I understand the reactions of the players, but I would say this. Every decision that me and Mougey make is to win and to win now. Back to what Woody said earlier. But quote, this is a separate quote, this in the same answer. This is not going to be the last decision I'll make that'll upset some people, and that's okay. But as men, we talk about it. We'll make sure we keep it in-house. So obviously, old Aaron Glenn had a colorful conversation with Quinnen Williams. You better delete that shit, deactivate this or that. Quinnen, by the way, is back on Twitter. But all that shit happened, and that to me is old AG going whoosh, and said, hey, baby, this is how it's operating. Now, Quinnen, I want to make sure this is clear. I did a video about it, so you guys can watch a whole, it's like a 10-minute video. I respect Quinnen's feelings for saying what he said. The Jets have fucking sucked since Quinnen Williams been on the team. They're like 32-64. I have it in my Quinnen Williams story. If you guys Google Quinnen Williams, Aaron Rodgers reaction, you'll see the story. Like, I feel bad for Quinnen, and he's gone through all kinds of Zach Wilson shit, Tim Boyle, all this crap, and it's just suck. So I totally, Quinnen 100% has the feelings and the right to say what he said, of course. But you know, AG is like, hey, man, I don't want all our dirty laundry out there, which has been a criticism of the Jets in the past. So that's a long way of saying, Woody, I liked that Glenn is cracking the whip, so to speak, and making sure that this is clear. And hopefully he can, again, what's up now to AG is he's got to sell the vision to Quinnen and all these guys on the team. And, hey, man, we are going to win. I know it's hard to see right now, but just believe me. And that is the textbook definition of faith. That is belief without evidence, and there is no evidence that the Jets have a clear upgrade to Aaron Rodgers right now, but it's up to AG to try to sell to his team that they have a greater plan, even if we don't see it.
Well, I think that is, I don't even know if you can have a better segue to what I actually felt was my biggest takeaway from this whole day, and it came from Aaron Glenn. And when he talked about finding the next QB, he said, you know, he wanted a winner, which could be confusing for some because the reality of it is that a winning QB is somebody that makes winning plays, right? Smart football player, winning decisions. That's not necessarily the QB that has simply won the most games, because ultimately games are won and lost by a whole variety of factors. Then he goes on further to say that it's not just about the QB position. And I think that's what some of our commenters have meant, with the Aaron Rodgers fatigue, is that, with all the 1-year deals that have expired, this roster, there's a lot of places that need to be addressed. And I wholeheartedly agree. So then he says it's not just about this team, and it's not just about that position, it's about the team as a whole, winners. And then he named people on the roster who he felt like were winners. And that, to me, was the strongest takeaway I could grab, is a clear endorsement that these people fit the mold. These 4 people, now I have to automatically assume, right, that they are foundational pieces. Based on what we've gotten back, you can argue that these 4 people are seen in a higher regard than our beloved Garrett or Sauce. Because, with them, it was, hey, they good young players. They said, we are looking for winners, and these 4 people are winners. So let me say the names that he said. He said Quinnen Williams, right? So he probably had no problem reaching out to that guy, a leader of the team. Is Thomas Hennessy still there? I don't know, because he is either the first or second longest tenured Jet, right? Quincy Williams, big bro, who was an all-pro, right? AVT, Elijah Vera Tucker, people, don't like his injury history too much, but the results when he's been on the field have been inarguable. Argue with the wall if you disagree with that. And Joe Tippmann, right? So Quinnen Williams, Quincy Williams, AVT, Joe Tippmann. They were identified, they were separated from the pack by Aaron Glenn himself as winners. And honestly, I love it. All a lot of them in the trenches. I like it because games are won and lost there. And I got nothing but respect for those 4 players.
And that goes to show over the last month, because that's basically been the time frame since we last got a chance to speak with Aaron Glenn and Darren Mougey, is part of what they've been doing. And Darren Mougey talked about that in his opening statement. He also talked about that with his Jets live stream with Eric Allen and Ethan Greenberg today, that over the last month, we got the scouting staff and the coaching staff together so everyone knows the vision for this team. And obviously they assessed and studied the roster. They had those roster conversations. Who are foundational pieces? Who are players to re-sign? Who are players to let go? Who's a full assessment of what this is going to look like. And so when he's name dropping things today that he wasn't at the introductory press conference, is the benefit of time of watching tape and saying, hey, these are guys that I want to rally around. And I think those are great names to pick. And I love that they're not Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, obvious guys. I like that these were less. Quinnen is an obvious player. He's the highest paid player on the team. He's very obvious. Quincy is a former All-Pro. But still, coming off of the criticism that just happened for Quinnen, I think it's important that AG reiterated that Quinnen's my boy. He's my guy. And also, I love the love to the offensive line, because, again, what made the Lions great was an elite offensive line, and that led to everything else. So to hear the love for Joe Tippmann, to hear the love for AVT, by the way, entering the 5th-year option. Speaking of 5th-year options, 2025 season is the final year of AVT's contract. Is he someone that gets extended? That 5th-year option is fully guaranteed, so that's a fully guaranteed hit on the Jets' cap. But if you give him a long-term deal, you could spread the money. You could lock in a piece that they feel really good about, and you could spread that attack in terms of the contractual thing that's happening there. Another factor potentially, we just saw the Bills extend Khalil Shakir on a big deal. And Daniel Jeremiah tweeted out that he could see a lot of teams doing exactly that. And he said it before that Khalil Shakir news hit, is that all these teams in the NFL got more money with the expanded salary cap, and they're going to choose to use a lot of it on their own guys to lock them in. And in offseason of uncertainty, make sure they do that. So I love that call out, Wudi. That's one that I have not heard a lot of people calling out enough since that transpired a couple hours ago.
Of course, I love a lot of these players, those 4 all great players. So yeah, I definitely think, and they did say specifically Darren Mougey said, right, there's already, great players on this roster. What we're trying to do is add to that already built foundation, which is not something previous regimes have had to work with. They usually come in, ooh, what's that smell? Take this out. All right, you gone, you gone, you gone. But this regime has the benefit of having good players already. Two more things. One is Yo Holmes. I didn't say that they didn't have a plan. The specific thing that I said was that I don't think they have a one name for QB where they're saying this is our guy. This guy is above Aaron Rodgers. They themselves pretty much said that, right? They said that they are exhausting all the different options. I think they do have a process that they're going to go through, but I wouldn't say they know exactly what they're going to do right now. I don't think so. I think they're still going through their process.
And to be honest, I don't think that's crazy that you just said that, because how would they know? What if the Steelers right now re-sign Justin Fields? Oh shit! The Jets go, oh boy, that was our plan A. Oh boy, it's off the table. F me. Now what? So I think there's a lot of tentative plans. We've talked about this with Randy Mueller, our former NFL general manager here on the show, about how teams stack boards vertically and horizontally, right? So the Jets are like, F it, we need a quarterback. Okay, what are all the options possible in the universe? Trade, draft, free agency, and you stack them. The highest people on the board are the best quality, and then horizontal are guys that you're like, Justin Fields is the same as Kyle McCord. I'm not saying they really feel that way. That's just a made-up example. That they evaluate them. They're basically the same level starters, how the Jets interpret it. That's how it goes. A vertical board and a horizontal board for free agency, draft, and everything, as they try to figure out what is their plan at quarterback. So I don't think they're like, boy, it's Matthew Stafford. That's good. Bing, boom, bam. We got a wink with the Rams. Boom, that's a plan. That he's going to replace Aaron Rodgers. I think there's a lot of potential options, and they're going to kind of go with the flow. They've got their plan of what they believe they think is going to happen, and then they're going to react as things happen live, and they'll adapt and change. And we'll see what that is. What was your last piece, Woody, that you wanted to get to?
Yeah, it was it was a tweet that also Zoink Nation just brought up perfectly just now. Is Darren Mougey very clearly saying that they are open to trading up, trading down, which I actually retweeted a comment from Bleacher Report's Mo Moton, who mentioned hey,
boy Mo,
yes. He mentioned, hey, every GM should be willing to go up and down, and that's true. That is true, right? You don't want to be locked into some sort of mentality, which again Joe Douglas was, right. He had his philosophy, and there were times where he was like, "Oh no, we're not going to trade up." I think he literally said that last year. I think he. So to have Darren Mougey, I think that this is a plus. Just to hear this as a fan, to know that we're not locked in to nothing really. We're locked into what we're looking for as an organization, looking for winners, looking for intelligence. Aaron Glenn brought up a lot of times mentality. Personally, I would really like to select at 7. I think at 7, you are getting a key, like a core member of your franchise. I really think at 7 specifically, you have the chance to really choose the identity of your roster moving forward. So I think that to trade up, and I'm assuming they would only trade up for Cam or Shador.
Probably, I would imagine. Yeah.
I just don't know if it's going to be too much. What that's going to look like. Trade down, okay, you could trade down, but I think then you're missing out on one of those cornerstone pieces. When I look at it, I look at Mason Graham, right? Having him and Quentin, we just seen what the Eagles did to the Chiefs. That's the power of having a super strong interior D line. Like that is their identity. That's what I'm talking about with identity. You look on the other side of the ball. If the Jets make the decision to draft McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona, Now you got Ayers, now you got McMillan and
Garrett
Garrett.
Wilson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like are you for real? For whoever is the QB, that's barbecue chicken. And that's the identity, kind of almost like the I'm trying to think of a team like that just went far. I mean, the Bengals, but they also have Joe Burrow, so I probably wouldn't use that as an example. Kind of like the Bucks, right? The Evans, Godwin, you kind of right. You have different QBs that have continued to make the playoffs regardless of who was there. So this is what I mean by at 7, you have the chance to really choose your identity of that roster.
Yeah, and another great question here. I want to give a shout out to Connor Hughes. He asked Darren Mougey, does he believe, Connor Hughes asking Darren Mougey, does he believe that the team is in a position to be aggressive in a possible trade-up scenario where they would mortgage future draft capital to move up to land a potential franchise quarterback, considering the other needs on the team? Because the big question, the big conversation is, like, if you're going to trade up, well, boy, the Jets have needs at right tackle, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, defensive tackle, linebacker. There's 2 starting safety, like another corner. Like, they have a lot of needs. If you trade up, you take you take food off your table that you could have fed other parts of your family with it. By doing that, you're getting a higher quality piece of meat, but that's not going to feed Johnny more than Timmy. Like, okay, if you get if we're using that sort of example here. So he asked him, does he feel like they're in a position to do so? And Mougey said, I do think we can. And again, it went to your point of trading up, down, left, and right, and everywhere else. But it is good to know that if something hits them, that's what's going to happen. And Philium, that's exactly what he said in terms of the optionality of the team and having these choices and saying, okay, let's roll with what's going to happen. And as things happen, we're going to adjust and recalibrate as things pop. By the way, FL Phil 98 Philium with a membership, maybe another raffle ticket. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, FL Phil 98 again, aka Philium, for the gifted membership here on the show. We really appreciate it. That went to Jetpack 615. Again, Jetpack 615 just got a membership thanks to Philium, who has 8 raffle tickets so far this month for a big contest. Again, we're announcing that winner coming up on Saturday, March 1st, this Saturday. All right, Wudi, as we're wrapping up the show, fun show. This is great. And you are right, Philium. You said they have a plan at quarterback, and the plan, again, is that amorphous thing that we just sort of talked about. Not just, hey, we're going after Balso Wall and Matthew Stafford. I think it is somewhat amorphous of ultimately what they end up doing. But again, that vertical horizontal board, I think, is what goes together. So, Philium, you nailed it 100% with your quarterback plan. And wrapping up with you, Wudi, again, this was a super fun show. This is one we had booked because we knew that Mougey and Glenn were speaking today. And we could probably do another hour on all the comments and quotes and everything that was going on. But, we got to leave the fans wanting more, baby, of ooh. We'll have to see him on Thursday with some more action, which will be the official start of the drills. That we and the NFL Combine start at the same time. Thursday at 3:00 is when the drills start, and that is when Boy Green Meets Wudi will be on Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Combine, super exciting. It's made stars out of random players. You look at Xavier Worthy, who had a tremendous touchdown in the Super Bowl. He had 2, but one of them was like unbelievable. That was somebody that we didn't know this time last year, but the Combine, boom, puts people on the map. DK Metcalf, a whole lot of others. So definitely exciting to see what type of prospects, really take advantage of the opportunity. Shout out to the comments. I'm seeing a lot of Will Howards and Caps, seeing the McCord clan. I am all for, I think those are really like 2 of my top 3 options that I would draft this year. I'm definitely trying to draft a QB this year, not in the first round. I'm really big on that. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry. You're going to keep hearing me say it on repeat. First round, choose that identity, right? With one of those. I didn't even mention Will Johnson, the cornerback, right? That's another route to go.
Michigan, yep.
And then in the later rounds, whether it's second round, right? I think Will probably be there for the taking. He won't be there in the 4th.
Howard, you're talking about?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, because I just said, I'm going from Will to Will. Where there's a Will, there's a way. Yeah, for Will Howard. Right? Maybe that's how they do it. Will Johnson, Will Howard. But
Double
then,
Will. Yeah.
the later
Will
though,
I am. Yeah.
Will. But if they don't go that route, right, with Will Howard, Kyle McCord should be there in the third. And I know, the local kid, they say he wears 6 for Mark Sanchez. But I don't know. Boy Green might have PTSD because, Jeremy Ruckert. So we'll see. But yeah, those are 2 of the 3 names that I'm hoping the Jets can draft this year.
Well, I can't wait. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Again, sorry for the delay. Totally on me, not on Wudi at all. That was all on me, so I apologize. We'll be back on for Boy Green Daily tomorrow morning. I have to confirm with a guest or two because I know they're all at the NFL Combine, so I have to see if they're still in on that, especially with the time zone difference. So we'll keep you posted. Either way, we will have a Boy Green Daily tomorrow morning, and Boy Green Meets Wudi is back on Thursday at 3 o'clock. Wudi, great as always, my friend.
Absolutely. Guys, tune in. We'll see you in a couple days.